What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Big Freakin Health Coach Podcast. I'm Big Freakin Neil, and I'm joined as always by my brain twin, business partner, buddy, Alex Kane.
What's up, Neil?
What's going on, man?
Looking big, man.
Oh, thanks, dude. I'm trying.
Suppose that has something to do with your weight training.
I mean, there might be some correlation there.
A little bit of carryover?
A little bit of carryover.
Just tad? Okay.
A little bit of overlap. Yeah.
Man, I wish there was some science around that. We could replicate that for people.
I really wish that were the case too. You could maybe make a living out of doing that if there were.
We should just start a YouTube channel. Just run a camera.
Perfect.
We can just watch you do reps of stuff and pretend that that's coaching. That would be really cool.
Perfect. Should we make it like a music video and put heavy metal over it and just do like really over the top camera angles?
We can, but then we have to write, I don't own the rights to this song in the caption
true.
And nothing else.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Maybe we'll just stick to this podcast.
Maybe we'll just stick to this. This seems to be working out a little better so far. What's going on, dude? What is the latest in the life of Alex Kane?
Things are kind of getting a little bit more back to real life.
Yep.
In a few ways, I'm able to see some clients in person again now.
It's awesome,
which is great.
Yeah.
I missed them very, very much, and I'm generally an introverted person.
Same.
It takes a lot of my energy, honestly, to be around other people a lot. But God, I really missed my clients.
I find that now that I'm seeing some clients in person, I'm completely exhausted by the end of the day. Way more tired than I was when a lot of it was virtual. Like it takes a way bigger toll on me, but I'm also way happier.
Oh, so much more satisfying.
Oh man, very satisfying. Not to take away from the online stuff, that made me very happy that I was able to do that too, but just the satisfaction at the end of the day is night and day difference.
Yeah.
When you're actually seeing people.
I love it. And side note, I definitely want to move to more online training and stuff. It's easier to help more people that way.
Absolutely.
Which is really great. And then, everybody's not fighting for the same 5 p.m. time slot.
Yeah.
Which is really cool too. Mm-hmm. But I'll never stop seeing people in person.
Yeah. Same. When basically from the get-go, when I started my business, a understanding that I've had the whole time is that I never want to actually stop in-person training. I've known from the beginning that I want to do other things in order to actually grow the business. Like I want to prioritize online training and grow that side of the business. But, and like you said, be able to reach and help more people. But the in-person, one-on-one or small, semi-private training is definitely something that will always be there.
Yeah.
I will never go, okay, I'm done with this, no matter how many online clients I have access to.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So how is your training going?
My training is ramping back up.
Nice.
And there are growing pains because I haven't had appreciable weight to move in 3 months.
Fair.
But it's on its way back.
Nice.
It takes time. And one of the things about being a trainer that's really hard about this, dude, it was quarantine. I'm not superhuman. As much as I'd love to be Captain America, it's not going to happen. I gained 8 pounds. Mm-hmm. I lost a little bit of strength. I lost a ton of endurance.
Sure.
And we're working our way back. It's going to take some time. For every month that I was out, it's probably going to take 5 weeks to come back to where I really want to be.
Nice.
And once you wrap your head around that, you get a realistic timeline on it. It's not so bad. Then it just comes down to execution. Mm-hmm. So every day is just about, man, I need to do these 3 or 4 workouts this week.
Yeah.
I almost don't care what day they're on. They're all going to make me a little bit sore.
Yeah.
And we just need to get them done. Or crank them out. The volume's low.
Yeah.
The weight is moderate. And that's just what we need right now.
Mm-hmm. I think it's also kind of a cool thing as a coach when you do step back a couple paces and you do have a little bit of a setback, because it just sort of brings you closer to your clients, and that you develop new tools to use with them. Mm-hmm. Because you've used them on yourself to get back where you were. And it also just makes it more relatable. Like if you're just superhuman all the time and you never have any time off, you never have an off week, and you're just always crushing it, then it can create kind of a disconnect between you and a client who's struggling. Yes. So I think it's good. It's a good reminder for us to struggle too, because it puts us more in the footsteps of our clients.
Oh, for sure. And for you guys listening, honestly, if you run across a trainer who says that they are 100% on top of it all the time, they are lying to you.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Everybody's human. No one's special.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important that we help each other with things like this.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of using it as an opportunity to understand falling off the wagon again, because I haven't in a very long time. I mean, I may not have been cranking out the volume I was at previous stages of my life.
Sure.
A whopping super old 33.
Sure.
But, you know, at the same time, I've never been at a dead stop.
Yeah.
And this was one of those times, and it's a great opportunity to be like, okay, what's everybody going through? What does this feel like again?
Yeah.
Because when you have endurance and you're training someone who doesn't, and you go, okay, cool, you're going to do 30 lunges and you're going to hold this thing over your head. They're like, hell no, I'm not.
Yeah.
And you have to go back to that. I use that as an example because I did that last night and my legs are just on fire.
I believe it. Oh, man.
But yeah, I haven't done 30 of anything in so long.
In forever.
That, like, I slept like a baby last night.
Nice.
I was out like a light.
Nice.
So it's great. I mean, it's not where I want to be.
Yeah.
But I'm on my way.
Yeah.
And you just, you can't win them all today. You got to go 1-0 for today.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Quarantine hit at a weird time for me because I had been pretty aggressively ramping up intensity. I had a month or two before just bench press over 500 pounds for the first time, and it flew, and I was feeling superhuman. I was basically the strongest I've ever been in my life.
You have a very strong case for superhuman. And if you guys are trying to call bullshit on that, go to his Instagram at Big Freakin Neil, scroll down, not even that far, honestly. And he's got it all on video. It's amazing to watch.
So, yeah, that's where I was. And then quarantine hit. I was able to train a little bit out of a external shop at my sister-in-law's house, basically out in the middle of nowhere in the woods. I believe you referred to it as my Rocky Balboa training program.
Yep. Which
it very much was. There were actual weights. It wasn't actual like fallen trees and logs.
Rocks and stuff like that.
There were weights, but it was a really janky setup. And all the workouts that I did there felt horrible. Nothing felt good. The fact that I got out of it without any injuries or that many close calls is great. I was lucky in that regard. Absolutely. So with all this in mind, when I'm limited to my Rocky Balboa workouts and then what little I was able to do at home, I had to shift my goals at that point because I am very much a goal-oriented person. You know that I'm sort of an all-in or all-out kind of guy. So if I don't have a goal I'm chasing, it's much easier for me to be all-out than all-in. But if I do have a goal to chase, then I can out-focus anybody. I will zero in on that thing and I will stay vigilant. But without the usual array of goals that I have, I just had to shift my focus. So what I used the time to prioritize was a little bit of fat loss. When we went into quarantine, I'd been chasing those pounds on the bar for a long time. I've been eating more. I think I was pushing 250, and right now I'm sitting at about 235. So I lost my COVID-15 instead of gaining my COVID-15.
Very successful.
The flip side of that is now I was in a calorie deficit this whole time without being to train at full capacity, which is not ideal for a powerlifter.
Yep.
So I have noticed a little bit of a discrepancy in my strength level now, which I think I would have been able to maintain more so had my calories been at maintenance or above. The fact that my calories were low and I wasn't able to train as normal had a little bit of a compounding effect. So yeah, I'm struggling with that now. Still sort of zeroed in. I have a little bit more of a weight loss goal. I need to get below 230. There's no real reason for me to be above 230. For those of you that don't know, I'm a competitive powerlifter and I compete in the 220 class. And the last meet I did, I had to do a massive weight cut of like 16 pounds over the course of a few days. And it was just a lot. So, and I don't like being that heavy. So I would rather be within 10 pounds of my competitive weight. So getting to 230 is my priority right now, and building everything back up. I'm not way down there, but let's just say that first time you and I benched together, I hit 425 on the bench press?
Yeah, for 3.
Yeah, and that is definitely not where I was, but it's at least in the ballpark.
Yeah,
I guess. So
like, this is also a good lesson in how relative some of these goals are. keep in mind, I bench nowhere close to that.
Sure.
Like, Neil spotted me on a 225 bench, and I'm pretty sure that you pulled through the sticking point. And like, sure,
all you, bro. All you.
I'm just gonna do a quick deadlift, unrelated. But like, so that's the thing though. First time back from quarantine, and that was my first time on a flat bar in over a year. I'd been doing dumbbell stuff because of some shoulder things I was working through. Yeah. And that's where I'm at, man. That was very heavy for me. And 425 for 3 is Neil's post-quarantine spot. There is absolutely no ego behind either of those numbers. Yeah. You just got to be totally fine with where you are.
Where we're at. Yeah.
And do what you can from there.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's easy as a goal-oriented person to sort of get lost in where you want to be and not very self-aware about where you're at and sort of lose perspective on it. Yeah. Like, to me, when I hear 425 for 3, I feel like my instinct is like, oh, that sucks. I should be doing more. But most people would hear that and they'd be like, what is this guy complaining about?
Holy crap.
So, yeah, I get that too. That's definitely an important point to remember, is that, you know, it's all relative, and we should be thankful that we still have the strength that we do have after 3 months of no gym. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really glad you framed that in the goal setting format, because that is the topic of conversation for today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, how about that?
I know, right?
Whoa,
that's amazing.
It's like we planned it almost.
If we did plan these shows, can you imagine just how good they are,
dude?
But let's talk through your goal setting process then, because this is something we work with clients on a lot. Yeah. Because mostly people set pretty wishy-washy goals, and it's not their fault. They just haven't been coached through the system on how to set more meaningful goals. Yeah. So take it away. Yeah. Talk to me like a new client. Let's do this.
I think for me, for myself personally, I focus on a lot of, well, it's a combination of two different things. I focus on a lot of really big goals. I set very, very big goals for myself. I'm a big believer in that. And I also prioritize tiny goals on the road getting there. And that's the same way I frame it for my clients too. What I tell people, and there might be some discrepancy between our two styles here, but I don't like the idea of an attainable goal. I think setting an attainable goal for yourself is sort of like setting yourself up for failure, because a lot of us will get, it's very hard to get 100% of the way to a goal. It's just not, it's human nature to get 75, 80% of the way there. Yeah. So if you set an attainable goal, like let's say your attainable goal is lose 5 pounds, then are you going to lose 5 pounds, or are you going to lose 3 pounds, 4 pounds? And it wasn't that big of a goal to begin with. Now, if you set a massive goal, within reason, within something that you actually need to do, like if you're actually 50 pounds overweight and you set that goal to lose 50 pounds, even if you don't lose 50 pounds, you're going to lose a lot more than if your goal was to lose 5. Yeah. So while I appreciate the sentiment behind setting an attainable goal, because the idea is that you want to build confidence from achieving goals, and not set a goal that's unattainable and then you're just discouraged and you lose momentum, I think your long-term goal should be a huge one. Now, my strategy for maintaining momentum and motivation throughout that process is setting up tiny goals or more like tasks on a day-to-day level that you should zero in on, and that'll be your constant winning. Like every single day you'll tackle those tasks, you will win, and then that will build confidence and have a compounding effect and ultimately lead you to that massive goal.
Right.
So for me, it's a balance between having a huge goal, like a goal that you don't really want to tell people because it's sort of embarrassing.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's how big it is. It's a balance between that and then on a really, really practical daily level, focusing on those daily goals or tasks that you have to get done on the way getting there.
Yeah.
But still having that massive goal at the end of the road is going to inspire bigger action than if you have a smaller goal, an attainable goal at the end of that road.
Mm-hmm. It's like the peaks on the way to the top of Everest.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to conquer each one as you go. Don't break the chain, line up those W's.
Exactly.
And then boom.
I do think it's important not to focus too much or not to have too much tunnel vision on the end goal, on the massive goal, because that can be discouraging for a lot of people. Like if you're trying to climb Everest and you're only focusing on the very top, that's all you're looking at, and you're not looking where you're going getting there. You're not looking at each peak along the way. You're just looking at the very top peak. That's going to be really daunting, and it might inspire certain people to just give up.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a constant balance between focus on the smaller wins, but still have that massive goal.
I heard a story once, it was a long time ago, I'm probably going to screw this up 1,000 different ways, but there was someone who was trying to escape the old Soviet Union, and they were going to do it on foot.
Okay.
And they were going to walk from Russia to the rest of Europe.
Okay. Holy
cow. It's the middle of winter.
Yeah.
And this person just happened to have, I think it was bullets. I don't remember if they were a soldier who was leaving or what, but they had bullets in one hand, and their goal was not to walk to Europe. Mm-hmm. It was every 10 steps, they switched a bullet from one hand to the other. And they had 10 bullets in one hand, and when they were all in the other hand, you did it back the other way. Nice. And all they did was 10 steps per bullet. That's all they focused on. It was little, tiny, incremental steps, and they walked out of Russia in winter, which armies haven't done before. Yeah. And they were good. Like, I mean, they were obviously very dehydrated and tired and starving and all that kind of stuff, but they made it. They reached their goal because they focused on a smaller focal point.
Yeah. I think that is so important it just goes to show how big an impact where your mind's at actually has on where you end up going. It's crazy.
For sure. And I don't think we disagree too much on that. I think that's absolutely right. Like your big, hairy, audacious goal should be something that you're kind of not willing to share with people. Yeah. Like it makes you uncomfortable to tell people about your aspiration. Yeah. I think that's a very good thing. And when dealing with clients, we definitely start there. Mm-hmm. And that's devoid of timelines at first. The how realistic your goal is depends on your timeline. Sure. So if the goal is to lose 50 pounds, but you want to do it by a wedding in 5 weeks from now, I'm really sorry. But besides crazy surgical options, there's not really a way to do that for you.
Absolutely.
That's the only time when I'll be like, we need to manage some expectations.
Yeah, agreed.
But otherwise, you want to lose 50 pounds? Awesome. Now, how do we break that down to systematic goals? Like, what habits do we have to build so that the system you are building around you will inevitably lead you to your gigantic goal? And everybody's probably at this point heard the SMART goals framework. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. Is it realistic? I think so. Relevant and time-bound. And I agree to that to a certain degree, but I think the two most important pieces of that are specific and measurable. Yeah. Because lose weight is a wish, not a goal. Yes. All right? That's like, cool. You and 90% of Earth share that wish. Right. I want to lose 10 pounds by this time for this reason. Is much more important. And obviously that has time bound and relevant in it. But the specifics of the goal are what's most important. You need to put numbers on it, or if you don't want to do numbers. I had a client, honestly, they wanted to lose weight, and he had a pair of jeans that we did all of our measurements by. He didn't really wear them out anywhere. Yeah. They weren't like walking around jeans. They were his, am I at the weight I want to be jeans. And Every month he'd throw those jeans on. Mm-hmm. And if they were tight, we had work to do.
Yeah.
If they were too loose, it's like, okay, am I okay with this? Or do we want to go back in the other direction a little bit and put on a little muscle?
Yeah.
If they fit perfectly, he was a happy camper. We can run a maintenance program for 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. It's measurable.
Yeah, I like that.
Right? So you have to decide on your measurement system ahead of time. Mm-hmm. So if you want a body recomposition, I can strongly suggest that we do body weight and body fat percentage. Mm-hmm. But if that's not how you want to measure it, that's fine. You and I just need to be on the same page.
Right.
So then you have to know how often you're going to measure it so you can check in and make sure you're making the progress you want to. Mm-hmm. If you have those two things, everything else can kind of take care of itself.
Yeah.
Like the program will run. You know, it's kind of like having calories and protein dialed in, your carbs, fat, and micronutrients. Mm-hmm. You can focus on those, but they're not going to make or break you. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the way that I start with a new client is what is the ultimate shoot for the sky? What's the thing you want?
Yeah.
Don't sugarcoat it. Mm-hmm. Don't talk yourself out of it. What do you want? Dude, I want to lose 100 pounds and I want to put 200 pounds on my deadlift.
Yeah.
Dude, let's do it. I'm down. Here's how we're going to measure that. Mm-hmm. Here are the specific numbers that we're starting from and the direction we want to move in. Here's where we want to end up. Now, for the time that we have, if there is a time limit, this is how we got to break down those benchmarks you were talking about. Mm-hmm. We're going to try and hit these. They're not always going to work out because progress is nonlinear. There's always fits and starts, mm-hmm. but it's adjustable that way. So when it comes to goal setting, be as specific as you possibly can. Don't be embarrassed by your own ambition and figure out how you're going to clock it.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, man.
You're unstoppable with just those three things.
Agreed. I agree 100%. So how do you, with a client, frame the daily stuff, like the smaller stuff? Is that just like habit coaching? How do you approach that?
It is pretty much habit coaching.
Yeah.
That's the most sustainable way to do it. Mm-hmm. And we always start with what is absolutely 100% doable.
Yeah.
And then we just add things. I'm not one for subtracting stuff. Mm-hmm. Everyone's already doing a bunch of stuff right by accident.
Yeah.
So let's take what you're already doing right
yeah.
and add other good things to that. Mm-hmm. Let's not focus on the shit you're doing wrong because you're not failing. You're here getting coaching. You're doing all the right steps.
Right.
I don't want you in a negative headspace about this stuff. You're doing these things great. Mm. So today, we're going to add this one habit. On your workout days, you're going to come see me. I got you there. You don't have to worry about anything else.
Right.
All right? You go home, you're going to eat some protein. Cool. You crushed it today. Mm-hmm. It's just winning each individual day. And that was very vague. Their program's going to be different depending on their starting point, sure. their goals, and how they move, all that kind of stuff that goes into creating a comprehensive training program like we do for each individual client. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the goal setting, breaking it down to you want to be here in 6 months. Here's where we're hoping you'll be in 3 months mm-hmm. if everything goes to plan. Here's your program for the next month, mm-hmm. and here's what you're supposed to do every day.
Yeah. I think another good way to sort of go about it is, like you said, start with that massive, semi-embarrassing goal, and then reverse engineer backwards. And if you had to formulate a program of simple daily things that you're going to do for the next, for some people it's going to be years, mm-hmm. but if you had to pick those handful of simple daily habits or tasks, what would those be that would actually get you there?
Yeah.
And just kind of work your way backwards to where you're at now. Be really honest about where you're at now mm-hmm. and exactly what you need to accomplish between then and where you ultimately want to end up.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I would say is difficult mm-hmm. is a goal setting mindset mm-hmm. is judgment free. That's really, really important. No goal is stupid.
Yeah.
No outside influence should sway your goal at all. Like, I want to work out 3 times a week. Oh, but this person on YouTube or Instagram says I need to do 4 or 5 if I want to do it. No, screw them.
Yeah.
All right? Don't worry about them.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Work from there.
Yeah.
All right? No outside influence. No one should crush your goals. Like, so I read a thing where Hugh Jackman, when he was getting ready for the Wolverine, mm-hmm. he had 0 goals weightlifting wise.
Yeah.
He had the number of times he had to show up every week. And then he said afterward, my goal would have been to deadlift 315 for 5 reps or something like that. And he ended up pulling 425 for something crazy. And you guys, he's 6'3" or 4. Like, that's not easy. That's a long way to pull a bar.
Absolutely.
But like, he never would have got there if he had limited his goals in the first place. So sometimes if you don't want to put a number on, like your goal is to get stronger, then your actual goal is to weight train X number of times a week.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to cap what you can do with your big, hairy, audacious goal.
Right.
Like, you can be, I want to be a weightlifter.
Yeah.
I want to lift heavy things.
Yeah.
To do that, I specifically need to train 3 days a week doing exercises in these categories. And then, boom, I'm going to measure it by pounds in the bar. Boom, I'm going to measure it by recovery between workouts. Boom, I'm going to measure it by how many calories I'm eating per day.
Yeah.
And then every day, you check those 3 boxes, bam.
You're golden.
You've built the system that will get you where you want to be. And then as long as you stay consistent, it takes care of itself.
Exactly.
And that's always my goal anyway with clients is I want you to build the framework that can only get you there.
Yeah.
I don't want to be your next trainer. I want to be your last trainer. I want to teach you how to do this forever with or without me.
Yeah. Okay, story time.
Hit me.
You know this. A lot of people don't. When I first started lifting weights, I think I was 18. It was like right after I graduated, basically. And I was 130 pounds as an 18-year-old. Definitely not a shoe-in for college football, for sure. Definitely not an athlete of any kind. I was a super skinny nerd, basically, out of high school. And then I decided, so I realized that I was very skinny, and that's actually what motivated me to start working out. And in doing that, as many of us did back in that day, I made a bodybuilding.com account. And I remember they had this feature where you could set a goal. It was like a feature where you clicked on the picture that corresponded most with your goal. It was like a silhouette of a guy. And there were like, I don't know, 4 different silhouettes to choose from. So I clicked the one that I thought looked the best, which was basically like, there was like professional bodybuilder and then the step down from that, which is what the one I chose. But it came up, and then it would like give you a timeline, and it basically came up and was like 7 years or something like that. Like, I picked an astronomical goal right off the bat. But I kept that in my mind, and if I had just started with, I want to build 20 pounds of muscle, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today. It's possible I wouldn't even be in the industry that I am today. Like, who knows where I would have ended up. But I just had this extreme, crazy goal in my head, and I continued to chase it. Fast forward, I thought I wanted to be a bodybuilder, so I prepped for a bodybuilding show. I stepped on stage and this is dehydrated, carb depleted, the absolute lightest, because they weigh you the day before. So I hadn't carved up or anything. The lightest I could be, I was 216, I believe. So I went from 130, not muscular, not even skinny ripped, just 130, zero muscle. And then went from that to 216, basically the driest, lightest I could possibly be at that body weight. And that kind of transformation would not have come about 100% had I not had that astronomical goal.
Right.
The next phase after that, I started to chase not just physique goals, but the pound goals on the bar. I started to chase strength goals, and same thing, set ridiculously high goals, and that led to me being a competitive powerlifter. So the long story short, the point being, if my goals hadn't been high, at a reasonable goal at 130 pounds would have been, I want to be 165 and in decent shape. That would have been a reasonable goal. Had that been my goal, it would not have compounded and snowballed into me being a competitive powerlifter today.
You would not be 230 pounds of twisted steel.
Right. Correct. Yeah. So, yeah, case in point, I mean, my approach with clients is always the same. It's shoot for your ultimate massive end goal, keep that in your mind, and then focus on the daily stuff and just be consistent. Like during that time period, for me, I never missed a workout. I remember, so being a really skinny guy with a fast metabolism, my biggest struggle was eating enough calories.
Yeah.
And I remember falling asleep, literally falling asleep in my living room watching TV with food in my lap because I had to eat so much and I was so tired. And I would wake up and I would finish my food and then I would go to bed.
I even remember you talking about that when we were training together at Gold's. That was what, like 5, 6, 7, 20 years ago?
Something like that. Somewhere in there.
It was a ways back now.
One of those was right.
But like, yeah, dude, I remember you being like, dude, it's just hard to get the food in.
Yeah.
And I fell asleep eating mashed potatoes last night. I have half a steak just sitting on my chest. I didn't know what to do.
Yes.
And like, it's a real thing. And that's the other thing. You have to understand that your goals are not for anybody else.
Yeah.
Neil's goal was to get real big. He did a great job. But that included eating as much food as he possibly could because that was hard for him.
Right.
So if your goal is to lose weight, it's probably the opposite.
It's not the ideal program for you.
Right. It might be the same. Like,
yeah.
And then there's also your big, ridiculous goal doesn't always have to be physical. Your big goal can be, I just want to sleep better.
Yeah.
I'm getting 2 hours of crap sleep a night. This is really wreaking havoc on my life. Right now, my ridiculous, audacious goal is 9 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a good goal to have.
Yeah.
You can set other goals after this goal. This isn't the only goal for your life.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
Like, so pick the thing that you actually want the most. That's really the takeaway with your big goal.
Yeah, really, that's the better way to frame it. Because it doesn't have to be, like, life-changing.
Right.
Right? It just has to be the thing you want the most. I like that better.
Yeah.
Because and the important point is to not diminish the thing don't sugarcoat or diminish the thing you want the most just because it's big.
Right.
But if it is something as simple as get 9 hours of sleep, then zero in on that.
Notice, simple,
by all means.
Not easy.
Yeah.
But simple.
Exactly.
You can be as simple with your goals as you absolutely want. Like, it's your goal.
Yeah.
We don't get to tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really important distinction.
Yeah, I agree. I mean...
So tell me a little bit more, Neil. You set a goal, you're cruising along for a little while, and then your client falls off the wagon for a minute. What do we do?
Yeah. So my approach is probably very similar to yours in that it becomes a matter of dialing back and focusing on those more practical daily habits. The driver for consistency and consistent progress is always going to be those practical, actionable daily things. And like we talked about before, the ultimate goal can be daunting without those things and impossible to reach without those things. Right. So if a client has fallen off the wagon on the road to that goal, it's time to just zero back in on the habits. So a lot of times that'll look like dialing it back to, just the most important task and starting with that. We've talked about habit formation quite a bit in that tackling more than one habit at one time is generally way less effective than focusing on one at a time.
Yeah.
So I would zero in on what's the most important daily habit that we're missing. Because if the client has fallen off the wagon, if progress has stopped, then it's the day-to-day stuff that's getting swept under the rug.
And you don't mean missing as in we need to add a new one that is gone. You mean which one are they having trouble hitting consistently?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So, So we're not adding anything new. If anything, we're simplifying and zeroing in on the most important of what they should have been doing.
Gotcha.
From that point, once they're hitting that consistently for 2-3 weeks, then we add in the other simple habits that are going to get us back on that road towards that goal.
Nice.
It's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
What about with yourself and your clients?
I do very much the same thing. I ask a couple questions up front. Usually there is a cause for falling off the wagon, and I need to know who's, not in a place blame kind of way, but whose fault it was.
Sure.
As in, Like, did you have something that changed your lifestyle, your daily life? Is it different for some reason? If someone just had a baby, yeah, you got some changes. We got to go back to the drawing board and figure out which habits we can actually control. Sure. If nothing changed, then I gave you something too soon. Sure. That one's on me. Yeah. And we're going to go back 2 weeks to where we were 2 weeks ago. And I'm going to make sure that I help you solidify that habit that I jumped the gun on. Yeah. All right. And then, boom. When you're ready, we'll be right back where we should have been. Absolutely. That's a good point, too, is to go back, backtrack to when they were hitting their goals, hitting their habits, and they were dialed in and figuring out what went wrong. Yeah. Was it us as the coach that gave them one habit too many to tackle or just gave them too much to tackle in general? Or was it a big life moment like having a baby? I think that's a really important distinction to make too. Yeah. Absolutely. Because if it's situational, there are other things you have to do. Right. If it's just me getting excited by your progress, well, I got to calm down. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Once again, it all comes down to the individual and meeting the individual where they're at and just coaching them up on the most important thing in front of them right now and not just throwing everything at them at once. Oh, yeah. That's the biggest thing. That's something that I see young, new, inexperienced trainers do all the time. Absolutely. Hey, this was a great first workout. Remember, you have 4 more to do on your own. You're going to do these macros. Have you downloaded MyFitnessPal yet? Good, do that right now. Yeah. Also, I want you to sleep 8 hours. Yeah. Also, you're going to go home and meditate. Also, I want you to text me every 10 hours and let me know how you're feeling. Right. Like, no, man. Like, it's not going to happen. Did you meal prep this weekend? No, I've never done that before. I don't know what that is. Yeah. Okay, well, while you're super sore from everything, you're going to go to Whole Foods and you're going to buy all this stuff and then you're going to prep it for 5 days. Yeah. And then you're going to remember to eat it. No. Yeah. Just saying all that right now makes me tired. I know. Me too. I feel spent just hearing that. Yeah, I think... like the biggest distinction there is when you see a first appointment with a client and a trainer. If the trainer is doing the vast majority of the talking, then that's most likely the wrong approach. Yeah. The client should be doing the majority of the talking by a lot because that's, again, gathering relevant data from the client and figuring out where they're at and what they need to focus on. It's not, here's everything I read in my certification textbook. Yeah. I'm going to throw it all at you today. Regurgitate it real quick. Yeah, on your first appointment, and you're going to be perfect from day one. That's not possible. Yeah, that's the big disconnect between theory and practice. Yeah. Right there is I can't do 90% of the work. I can give you all the theory and the roadmap. But even if you see me 3 times a week, I did the math once. It's like 2-point-something% of your week. Yeah. That's just seeing me is not enough. I need to give you the tools to do this on your own. And I can't give you the right tools if I'm running my mouth for a whole session. Yeah. You know? Everything you say, I can't feel the exercises you're doing. I can't feel your recovery time. I can't gauge your soreness. I can't do any of this stuff. I need you to tell me about it. And if I'm too busy going, well, technically the serratus anterior is actually wonderful for wrapping on a scapula around your rib. Like, no one... Yeah. Do you care? Yeah. No. You don't have to worry about that. That's my job. I do that for you. Right. So tell me how it feels when you do this thing I told you to do. I mean, it comes down to the whole... At some point... Are you helping the client or are you showing the client how smart you are? Yeah. It's the same with like choosing a ridiculous exercise just for likes and views on Instagram versus the very simple, not sexy exercise that is going to benefit them the most. Yeah. You know? Absolutely. Same concept. And that's actually kind of hard sometimes because clients have some expectations coming into a first appointment. And generally, I'll ask some basic questions up front as part of their, physical activity readiness questionnaire, that kind of thing. Yeah. But when we get to moving around, if you don't need a ton of assessment, you move well from the initial assessments, I'm not going to put you through that just so I look cool. Right. If I'm going to put you on a deadlift bar for your first time, I go, hey, have you deadlifted before? And you go, yeah, I have. I go, okay, let's see it. Yeah. I'm not going to give you a thorough demo with 14 things to remember how to do if I don't even know if there's a problem.
Right.
So just do the thing. And I'm, okay, cool.
Yeah.
There might be one thing that we need to fix on that, and holy crap, it feels a whole lot better all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That's the difference between coaching and commanding. And sometimes clients are underwhelmed by that on the first session.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm more than happy to explain myself and my thinking with that.
Yeah.
That means I'm not the right trainer for you. That's also fine. But I'm not going to compromise doing things effectively in the philosophy that I've built, because it's better for you that way.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think a big part of maybe the underwhelming factor of that is somewhat negated just by that transparency and honesty with the client of, like, no, here's why I'm coaching you this way. Here's why this is the most effective way for me to coach you. And just the education and explanation of it, I think, goes a long way. Because if a client comes in expecting one thing, you give them something else, and you don't explain why, then that can be a turnoff for a lot of people.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I mean, some trainers get up on their high horse about, I know what's best for you and whatnot. You're the client.
Yeah.
You got the dollars.
Yeah.
You know what you want. I'm here to give it to you. If you want to do an hour-long tricep workout, we're doing an hour-long tricep workout.
Yeah.
I'll sneak in some stuff that's good for you. It'll hit your triceps real hard, but you know what? This is a close grip push-up.
Yeah.
And there's one of your 5 movement systems right out of the gate.
There you go.
But, like, your triceps will get demolished today because that's what you asked for.
Yeah.
All right? I'm just here to help. So the other thing is, though, when you listen more, I want to know you as a person. There's a whole bunch of lifestyle stuff that I need to know as well.
Absolutely.
And I want to know your dog's name because I want to show you my dogs. And I want to know about your kids, and I want to know that cute thing that they did this weekend and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if you got work stress, I want you to have a place to just vent about that while we do medicine ball slams, and you can just hulk out and have a great time. Let's relieve some stress.
Yeah.
But, like, all that stuff is important to your overall health too. And if I'm too busy just spitting exercise science rhymes for 60 minutes, I don't get to learn any of that about you. And not only am I missing out on what's probably an awesome person, but I can't help you outside of our 60 minutes.
Yeah. I also think that people undervalue just the overall experience. Like, we're not just about providing a great workout program or even providing clients with results. For me, for my business personally, I would rather provide a fantastic all-around experience.
Yeah.
The session itself, every single session should be a great experience for the client. And a trainer who's just going to stand there and spout exercise science at you and count your reps is not a great experience.
No.
It's just not a good level of service.
Well, because if you were to do that and I get between sessions and I have a problem, I'm not just going to text you about it. I don't know you like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, hey, I'm at Cheesecake Factory right now. My friends took me here. What do I do?
Yeah.
Be like, all right, well, we're going to wing it, and he's going to tell me I was wrong when I get there.
Yeah.
And that's not the relationship you want.
Yeah.
Right? So
that's really funny that you had that example, because a client has literally, I think it was even Cheesecake Factory.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. A client has texted me and said, here's where I am, and they felt comfortable enough to do that, and I just went on the Cheesecake Factory website, found something on the menu, and texted them back.
Yep.
That's a perfect example.
But that's what you want. And bringing that full circle to your goals, these simple approaches help us understand the context of your goals. And when we can understand the context of your goals, if you do run into a situation where we need to make adjustments to your program, we have so much more information to work with.
Yeah.
So, hey, you know what works crazy right now? I'm an accountant. It's tax season. I'm at my desk 13 hours a day.
Yeah.
Okay. From what I know about how you handle stress, the people that you work with, the environment that you're in, here's how we can adjust your physical activity so that you don't add stress. We can actually get rid of some of it.
Yeah.
And it has to exist within that spectrum with all of the variables. Or we're just guessing.
Yeah.
And that's not what you pay a coach for.
Yeah. For that reason, too, it can't be, like, you can't fake that and be an effective coach, because all that information is so relevant to being an effective coach that Like, it's not just putting on a friendly face and asking a client how their day was and then tuning out while they answer you. You have to actually engage the client and gather that relevant information about the client, because that's going to help you coach them better. If you don't even really know what your client does for work and they tell you that work is crazy right now, you have no context for what that means.
Yeah.
You don't know what hours they're tied up at work. Like, you have no context for how to overcome that obstacle.
Exactly.
So, and
it's like crazy at work
Yeah.
is very different for an accountant versus a construction worker.
yeah, exactly.
That's a huge difference.
Exactly.
So that stuff's all important, especially when it comes to adhering to the plan for your goals.
Yeah. You don't want to be 12 sessions deep with a client and have to ask, what do you do for work again?
Yeah.
You don't want to be in that spot. That's not a good place to be.
Yeah. I cringe because I will occasionally see a trainer check their clipboard before using a client's name. When I hop in occasionally when I'm like moving around, like I'll hop in for a guest workout sometimes. I did a couple at a 24-hour fitness.
Yeah.
Not to blast 24-hour fitness specifically. It just happened to be where I was when I saw this. But there was a guy who the client was warming up without him, so I know she'd been there before. Mm-hmm. And he definitely checked his clipboard before using a first name. And I was just like, I really hope I'm wrong about this. And he was checking something else, but
yeah. Oh man. See, that also just comes down to giving a damn about your clients.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't know your client's name, you probably also don't really care about. You don't have a personal investment in the results or how effective you're coaching them.
And that's important.
Yeah.
I mean, because we're people too.
Yeah.
Right? We're not just these amazing superhumans that can indiscriminately care a whole lot about whoever we point at. Right? So if I'm really busy and you're having trouble with your goal, it's important that I'm a part of your life, that I understand the context, that I care about you on an individual basis so that I go, you know what? No. This person, I'm not even going to pick a random name, needs this right now. And I'm going to stay up late and make sure we make these program adjustments or do more research on this thing that's bothering them now instead of going and getting my 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I'll work that out tomorrow with a nap or something. But I care about whether or not this person gets the results they paid for.
Yeah. We just talked about this recently. I have a actual, like, emotional reaction when a client is struggling. Nothing stresses me out more.
Dude, I get so much anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, we were just talking about that the other day. Like, man, when people are struggling, it weighs on me.
Yeah.
And I feel a lot of personal responsibility for getting them out of a rut. And I believe that's exactly how it should be.
I agree.
They put their big, hairy, audacious goal in my hands, and they said, please get me there.
There are trainers out there that would respond to that and tell you should distance yourself emotionally. You should compartmentalize more so that doesn't actually affect you on a personal level. But I think the opposite.
Absolutely.
I think to actually be the best coach you can be and provide that level of experience that we're talking about, you need to be personally invested.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, I can't imagine being as good a coach as I am without actually caring that much about my clients.
Yeah.
Like, it should keep you up at night if your client is struggling.
Exactly.
And
in the context of goal setting, we're talking about when you fall off the wagon.
Yeah.
This right there is the difference between the good coach that takes responsibility, throws your problems over their shoulders too, and is like, here's how we get through this. We got to rework some things. Versus the coach who goes, you didn't follow the program. You just don't want it bad enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is always just a total bullshit reaction to something. That is the laziest coaching you can possibly get.
You hear a lot of trainers talk about high maintenance clients too.
Yeah.
And usually in the context of like firing the client or just generally complaining about how high maintenance the client is. I personally love high maintenance clients in that when you provide a quote unquote high maintenance client, just means a client who needs a lot of upfront attention and
has a lot of questions. Things like that.
Exactly. Has a lot of concerns, needs a lot of education right up front.
Or even they'll call a high maintenance client someone who just needs constant encouragement.
Yeah.
Which blows my mind.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Absolutely. But those clients, though, when you're actually able to provide them with the experience they're looking for, those clients turn into the best clients, the most successful clients, and ultimately the biggest advocates for you as a coach too.
Yeah.
Like if someone who's naturally needs more attention from their coach, if their coach can give them that attention and then some, then I mean that client will sing your praises forever for good reason.
Yeah.
So
you earned that at that point.
Yeah.
And we like that a lot.
Yes, we do. Well, I think that we've covered a lot.
Oh yeah.
Let's streamline. Let's summarize. The practical takeaway from this chat is that your goals don't need to be small.
Nope.
Your goals don't need to be massive, but you should zero in on the thing that you actually want the most.
Yes. Your goal should be yours.
Your goal should be yours. Don't let some buff guy on Instagram discourage you from that goal because they said something about setting attainable goals. Shoot for the stars if that's where your head's at, and don't limit yourself before you even start. Zero in, reverse engineer that goal, whatever it is. Zero in on the daily habits and tasks that you need to be consistent with to actually get to that goal.
Yeah.
And at that point, focus on those. Focus on the consistency, the victories day to day, because not only will that drive your progress, that will keep you fired up and motivated that you have successes every single day that will ultimately lead you to the main success of achieving that goal.
Yeah. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
There you go.
Boom.
Boom. Mic drop.
Nailed it.
I think that's as good an ending as any. All right, guys.
Awesome.
For questions and to leave us comments or request certain topics from us, feel free to find us on Instagram. Send us a direct message. You can find me there. I'm Neil Austin at Big Freakin Neil.
I am Alex Kane at Health Coach Kane.
So send us a direct message. If you saw value from this podcast, please leave us a review wherever you're listening to it. And please
share
it. Yeah. Tell a friend about it. We don't do anything to grow this podcast except for just organic growth. So if you saw value at it and you know somebody that you think would get some value from it as well, just pass it along. We really appreciate every single review, every single share, and any feedback you can give us, guys.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Thank you so much.
We'll catch you guys next time.